we are a production brewery. That's our #1 goal, is to be a production brewery and produce wort and convert that to alcohol and basically sell that. My wife and myself are entrepreneurs. We knew someday we inherently wanted to work for ourselves. We didn't really have a vision that we wanted to do it brewing beer until it kind of just popped out at us. I mean, I was a home brewer for a long time. We did a lot of home brewing, and it really did, you know, Lynn was my sidekick when we were brewing, so she was very involved in the actual brewing process. She knows a lot about it too.
Hi, I'm Lynn O'Clair, owner of Deep River Brewing Company, along with my husband Paul. I'm going to take you through all the beers that we have on tap today. We have 6 different kinds of beer on tap. The first one I'm going to start off with is our black IPA. It's called Backcountry Black IPA. Now this is a great beer. This is a darker beer. It's got 5 different kinds of hops in it, including Citra, which is very hard to get. This beer is a really great beer for those people that love hoppy beers because of the 5 different kinds of hops. And it also has the dark chocolate malt in it, which gives it that nice, smooth richness, really balances out the 5 different kinds of hops in it. So it's not overwhelming, it's not a palate wrecker. It's just a really easy to drink black IPA.
We did a lot of tastings prior to. We had all our recipes dialed in before we ever, you know, on our system now we have 15 barrel system. So every time we brew a batch of beer, it's 500 or 465 gallons of beer. But we have our little pilot system that we home brewed on and got our recipes dialed in before we ever brewed on that.
And the next beer I have for you is our Double D's Watermelon Lager. This beer is interesting. Actually, the name comes from our dads. Both of our dads are named Don, and their favorite style of beer is a lager, so we decided we'd name the beer after them. And it has just a hint of watermelon in it. We use real Johnston County watermelons, which are actually picked from local farmers. And we cut open the watermelons, take out the insides, and actually put them in post-fermentation. And we try the beer every day till we get the right amount of watermelon flavor. And once we get that right amount, we carbonate the beer, and it comes right to your glass. So it's nice and fresh, it's really light, it's only 4.5% alcohol, and has just a hint of watermelon in it.
So we sampled those with people and that was our guinea pig. They were our guinea pigs in making sure our beer was perfected before we ever scaled it up and started selling it on a big scale. I think that's very important because, you know, if we just went into it blind and rolled the dice and said, we're going to brew this beer and brewed a beer and it was terrible and tried selling it to people, you're putting the cart before the horse in that situation, I think.
The next beer is what we call our Riverbank Riot. This is a Rye Pale Ale. It is a single hopped beer, has just Columbus hops in it. It's nice and light as well. It's 5.2% alcohol, and it has 52 IBUs. And IBUs are international bittering units. So the higher the number, the more bitter it is, and that bitterness comes from the hops. So this is a great middle of the road kind of pale ale. And the reason it's a Rye Pale Ale is because the predominant malt in it is a rye malt. So you get the spiciness from the rye, which really balances out the Columbus hops very well.
It's very important to get your specimen, get all your people together that are going to drink your beer, get the craft beer people together and try the beer and get the perception of what they feel, if it's good, bad, indifferent, if it's not their style.
And the next beer we have is our Twisted River Wit. This is my personal favorite beer. It's a Belgian wit beer. It has a little bit of orange and a little bit of lemon in it. And it's nice and light. It's a great summer beer, but it actually is a year-round beer. We call it our flagship. And it's 4.3% alcohol and only 11 IBUs, so it's not very hoppy at all.
Did a lot of R&D before we got up to the big scale here with about 25 different recipes.
This next beer I'm pouring is 4042 Chocolate Stout. This is one of our beers we're best known for. We've won awards for it. It is a chocolate stout. It's actually a chocolate milk stout, and the reason we call it a chocolate milk stout is because it has lactose in it from milk, not actual milk, but the sugar from the milk. And it actually uses Videri chocolate cocoa nibs from downtown Raleigh, as well as pure vanilla bean. So we try to use locally sourced ingredients as much as possible in our beers, and this one I think is one of the best ones that we make. It's one of our best sellers.
We carbonate our beers. It usually takes anywhere between 5 to 10 hours to carbonate a beer for us. We obviously don't like to release it right after that. We usually let it sit for a period of time after that to mature in that tank or age a little bit, depending on the variety. Obviously our IPAs, we wouldn't do that because those are best drunk fresh.
The next beer I have for you is Oxbow IPA. It's actually a pale ale, but it's hopped like an IPA. So it's got that nice, real bitterness from the hops, and it's like 65 IBUs. but it's light. It's 4.5% alcohol, which a lot of people would consider that a session IPA. So you get all the hoppiness, but you don't get all the alcohol that you typically would from an IPA. It's a really easy to drink beer. It's one of the ones that took the place of First Run, which was Johnston County's first legal batch of beer. So we will probably have this one all year for you guys to enjoy.
Imperial Pumpkin. Something awesome, buddy. Cheers.
You know it. Cheers, bro.
Simplest form, I mean, you got water, hops, barley, and yeast. Those are, I mean, if you're a purist, if you're German in descent, those are the only things you put in beer. I'm not a purist. I think that there's other good things that complement beer that we can put in. We do a watermelon lager that has a pretty good dosing of fresh Johnston County watermelons in it, as well as we also do this beer here. Actually, we put chocolate or cocoa nibs in this beer that actually give it the flavor that kind of boosts up the chocolate flavor that you get out of it, along with a couple other specialty ingredients. We got a mash tun with a stainless steel false bottom, which is a perforated screen that all the liquid drains through. Back in the day, they would take a 55-gallon wooden barrel and actually put straw in it, and then put the grain on top of the straw, and the straw would act as the filter for it. So if you could, I mean, that's kind of a parallel of what we're doing to what was done back then. There's a lot of similarities, but there's differences. I mean, you can be as technical as you want with all the technology that we have in this day and age. And we custom built our brew house ourselves because you know, we could do that, and we had a kind of an idea of fluid flow and all the, you know, for my previous career, a lot of the fluid dynamics of what needs to move where and all that good stuff really helped us out.
Probably the most important thing I would say in making beer is to have everything clean. Especially for the yeast. Yeast is it's a living thing, and if it gets sick, then your beer gets sick, and no one wants to drink old gross beer. So yeah, I would say sanitizing and cleaning is probably the most important thing that we do. That's what you pay most attention to. I think when you're making beer, is make everything nice and clean.
One of the big ticket items that we kind of have on our radar is either a bottling line or a canning line, so we can start getting it out to more masses. But I mean, we still do sell the half-gallon growlers at different retail locations like Whole Foods, Bottle Revolution, Triangle Wine up in Morrisville and down in Southern Pines. But yeah, until we get that next avenue, the glass or the can, we can that really opens up a lot more doors for us.
I'd done a little home brewing, not too much, but I understood the mechanics of, you know, making beer and things of that nature, but nothing on this grand of a scale. So it was something I was super interested in, and I was so happy about having a brewery here in Clayton, in a, you know, a local area. I ain't got to go to Raleigh to get beer. So I came in and I just wanted to volunteer to help them get open, you know. And then, like I said, one thing led to another. Worked in the tap room for a little bit, pouring beer, and then came back here and started working. Now I get to make beer for people.
The town has been great to work with. They've been they really just, you know, opened the, you know, put out the red carpet for us when we came here to make sure we want to make it we want to make Clayton a destination. I think you can see from the growth of the area that it's really starting to become an area where people are starting to flock to. And I think it's awesome that the community has kind of wrapped around us and embraced us as much as they had. It's awesome. You see a lot of similar faces in here when we're open day to day. We got the running club that comes out here every Thursday, so they're very involved with that. So that's a real cool little caveat that we do on Thursday nights. But yeah, it's been really good for us. We've been really happy with it. I mean, it's not easy, I can tell you that, but at the same time, it's like when you see the appreciation that people give you for your beer, both coming in here and then people off premise, you know, like if we're out on the streets or something, let's say in Raleigh or something, or downtown Clayton, and they come up and they want to shake your hand and say, hey, I really love your beer, I love what you guys are doing. That's what makes it all worthwhile, because otherwise you're kind of, you're really wondering all the time, and getting outside the brewery sometimes is nice, because we do a lot of stuff in the back. We're here 24/7 working, so it's nice to get out and get the perception from the people that drink our beer.